WiTCH, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you're watching another episode of Every Which Way. And this time, I got to talk to astrologer coach Sonja Francis. Sonja is one of my favorite astrologers, and I really only found her in the last year, so that's saying a lot. What first caught my interest was her videos and her very soothing, elegant, calm style, and of course the content of her videos. She takes a very spiritual approach to astrology, and I also love her website, which has that same clean, elegant, classy Sonja vibe to it. If you love astrology, you are going to really enjoy this interview. So grab a cup of tea, take a seat, and stick around for Sonja Francis. Hi Sonja, welcome to Every Which Way.
Hi Joanna, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm really excited to interview you today as a kind of gift to my viewers because a lot of them have been buzzing about this blue moon that's coming up at the end of the week. And
Yes.
You just said earlier that's just a calendar thing. It's really not an astrological issue. Could you tell me more about that?
Yes, I mean, it's quite funny because there is a lot of talk about this blue moon because, there's this saying, once in a blue moon, and so people are sort of like connected to that. But really in astrology, all that it is that the moon cycles are on 28-day cycles, right? And the calendar month has 31 days. So, each year, because it's not exact, the moon cycle with the calendar month, I think every 2 or 3 years there is like 2 full moons in one calendar month. So it happens like every couple of years it catches up, right? And then there is an extra full moon.
Right.
Because of the way our calendar works.
So it's not an extra special magical full moon beyond just being a full moon.
No, the actual full moon itself is just a regular full moon. But, because the calendar month has 2 full moons, and the full moon is supposed to be this very extroverted emotional time, that means that in one calendar month we're having 2 very emotional, heightened energy patterns within a month. So if you look at it from our calendar perspective, then yes, it's a special month because there's these 2 heightened events in that same month. However, from an astrological point of view, it's just, that our calendar, it works differently than the lunar cycle.
Okay, all right. And I guess I should mention you are the astrologer coach at astrologercoach.com.
That's right, that's me.
And I've commented on one of your videos, the hardest working woman in astrology, because you make a lot of videos, or you have been lately. You've been doing, I think it's a daily weather forecast is what you've been calling it.
Yes, I started doing that a couple of weeks ago because I was approached by a company in LA that does videos, like mini videos, like 1-minute videos, and they wanted me to do something for their website, for their, it's called mevia.com, and so I started it on my own first to see if that's feasible for me to do, if it's something that I can do for somebody else as well.
Yeah.
And, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's fun, I like doing it because it gives me sort of, for every day, it gives me a little bit of something to think about for each day, and it also helps me to make these videos kind of short and sweet because, most people don't have the time to listen to long videos. So just having these like 1-minute things, or 1.5-minute nuggets for each day is kind of a challenge for me too, to put it in that short of a framework,
Has making videos always been a part of your business plan? I know that they're really integrated into your website.
It was pretty much from the beginning, yeah. I mean, I started doing my videos in maybe in 2010 or 2011. No, I think it was 2010. I started them in like the fall of 2010. And so yeah, and I basically I started my website in August of 2010. So it was really just a couple of months after I put up my website that I started doing the videos, because it seems like a natural fit for me, you know, because I used to be in the acting industry and in the modeling industry. So now that I'm doing more the astrology and the coaching thing with people, the video thing comes easily and naturally to me. Mm-hmm. So and I wanted a medium that also conveys my energy and who I am, because I think that's important too, so that people can connect to you and know who you are, you know, because I think energy is a big deal in terms of knowing who you want to work with.
Absolutely.
You pick your people as you feel connected to someone, you know.
Definitely. And you're working you're not just doing someone's natal chart. You do offer that service, but you present yourself as this is what you say on your website, the ancient art of astrology and the modern art of coaching. I love how that comes together. And if you're going to work with a coach, you kind of want to know that person's vibe a little bit.
Yes. Well, the combination is that I will look into someone's chart first, and then by looking in someone's chart, I can see, you know, what the energies are doing, how this person functions on an energetic level. And then the coaching is really just a way to kind of let go of blockages, energy blockages in the person's life, maybe conditioning that the person has been born into, or not born into, but conditioned into as a child or as a young adult. Mm-hmm. And sometimes these conditionings can really hold us back. They can hold us back in terms of what we think we can accomplish, or it can hold us back in terms of you know, just being more free about who we are, you know, being more accepting of who we are. So the combination, I love the combination of coaching and astrology, because I think it's extremely helpful in supporting people, helping them understand who they are, helping them free themselves from any kind of societal dogmas or you know, preconceived notions of how I should be or you should be, you know, because everyone's different, you know, and you got to be truthful to who you are and be that person in the world, because then you can be much more happy.
Yeah, you know? It's a beautiful combination too, because then you're not really left hanging. I had someone ask me, let me do your chart, and ask me for a few details, and I gave it to them, and they got back to me in a few days, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, you have the worst chart I have ever seen. It's terrible. But then that was it. Wow. That was all I heard from them, and I was like, what does that mean? What do I do with that information? I don't even know.
Oh, that makes me so upset when I hear something like that, because there is no bad chart. That just doesn't exist. You know, there's only what you do with your energies, you know, and the potential of a chart can always be to your own benefit. So when people say, you know, they look at your chart and they say you have a bad chart, that's already someone who has not fully integrated their own energies, and someone who's not thinking from a loving place. They're thinking from a fearful place, and that's not the way to interpret somebody else's chart. You know, mm-hmm. It makes me upset to hear that. So I'm sorry that happened to you.
Well, it's nice to know that you're combining the two, so you can work with even something that might be challenging in your chart. You know, it's like, absolutely. Well, this is how you deal with that, you know.
Absolutely. And well, we all have that, you know. Nobody is born without complete challenges, you know. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of a challenge is that you work through it and you learn something and you grow and you evolve, and that's what we're here to do, you know. I mean, if we were only here to, you know, lie on the couch and chill and relax all the time, then that would get boring after a while, you know. I mean, we definitely, all of us have a certain goal that we want to accomplish being here on this planet, you know. Mm-hmm. And for each of us, it looks a little bit different, you know. Maybe some people have taken on more challenges than other people, but that just means that the soul that chose that chart, you know, knew that they were ready for those challenges, knew that they were ready to handle all of that, you know. I don't think a soul chooses something without at least anticipating that they can handle it, mm-hmm. you know.
So you speak very clearly about that. You believe that we choose to come into this life and that we actually choose the situation that we're coming into as well.
I firmly believe that, yes. I firmly believe that because it first of all, it feels empowering to me. Mm-hmm. Because I was brought up in a family where I didn't feel it was a good fit for me when I was younger, mm-hmm. and it was a pretty harsh experience as a child. And when I took on the belief that I chose to be born into this family and that I chose to work something out with all these other souls in my family, it really empowered me, and it gave me back. You know, it gave me strength, and it helped me to understand that, you know, it's not what you experience that makes you, it's what you do with that.
Definitely.
You know? And I think that's true for most people, you know. I mean, if you your own perspective of your own life experience, if you choose to make it into something that helps your own evolution, then that's empowering. And that's how I like to believe.
It can help you have...
I'm not certain if it's true or not.
It can also help you have compassion, you know, for your family and the circumstances that you grew up in. I can see how that could be also beneficial. When did you start having these thoughts or becoming interested in astrology and applying these ideas to your own life?
You know, I read a book about reincarnation when I was 19, mm-hmm. which is about 20 years ago now. And it talked about how, you know, each soul picks their family and what they're born into. And it also talked about how everything is connected, as above, so below. That energetically speaking, what's out there in the universe is also within us in form of a small universe. So each cell of our body also has, you know, a small universe incorporated. Mm-hmm. And so that everything is interconnected. And it talked about astrology in that book. And I was so fascinated with that thought. I was like, wow, this sounds so cool. And I need to look into astrology. I need to see what that's all about and how that's connected. And when I got my first reading via you know, like somebody sent me something in the mail, you know, like a written report. Mm-hmm. And it was so helpful to see that, you know, how my planets and my energies are working together and what they're made of. And I was able to understand myself on a much deeper level. And when I read that report, I was like, this is so great. I love this. I want to know more about this. And ever since I've been on that path to learn more and more and more. And astrology is such a complex science. It's so incredible. You can learn your whole life. And you can still learn more. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have a deep understanding of it, but the book that did for me what you're talking about was Jan Spiller's Astrology for the Soul.
For the
and then
soul,
I was like,
yes.
I think I'm getting this. And then your channel really, you have such a spiritual way of looking at things, and you'll kind of assign, you know, each new moon or full moon or whatever's happening, a spiritual focus, and I relate to that. That's why I enjoy your work so much.
Yeah, I love her too. I love Jan Spill. She's a wonderful author.
Yeah, she is.
She has a fantastic book about moon nodes as well, which actually on tonight at 11 p.m. the moon nodes are switching into a new sign. I actually did a video about that, which I'm going to be posting tonight, and that's a big event because that happens every year and a half. Mm-hmm. And the moon nodes are connected to our soul's journey, to our soul's path, what we're here to do in this world right now. So with the moon nodes switching signs, we're stepping into like a new era for the next year and a half, into the Taurus-Scorpio paradigm. So for all the Tauruses and Scorpios out there, this is going to be an eventful year and a half for all of you.
Nice. What are your feelings on 2012 or 2013 or all of the hubbub about this shift that's supposedly happening?
Yes. Well, I do believe there is a shift happening. I do believe, astrologically speaking, if you look at the energies, there's definitely a speeding up of energies, mm-hmm. and there's also with the Pluto-Uranus square that's happening in the sky since last year, that is really demanding of all of us on a collective level to step up and to create change and to do something that's I'm sorry, that was a motorcycle.
You're in Manhattan, right?
I'm in Brooklyn, but
Brooklyn,
but
okay.
it's still once in a while there's still a loud noise here too. But yeah, what was I just saying? The
Uranus square Pluto.
oh yes, the Pluto-Uranus square.
Okay.
That is about that is about for us as a collective to step up into a bigger place, into a place where we can do something that's meaningful to us, that's truthful to us. We have to learn to build things that are solid, that are truthful, meaningful, that are of expertise, and we also have to learn to bring our own uniqueness to the table and to really do something that's new and innovative for each one of us. And so as a collective, we're being called, I mean, on an individual level as well, of course, each of us are being called to step up. But on a collective level, in terms of countries, in terms of politics, in terms of economy, we're all being called to expand from how we've lived up until now. Because how we've lived up until now is no longer working. It's kind of falling apart. If you look at politics, if you look at the economy, it's all kind of falling apart. And the reason for that is because it's no longer in service of the collective. It's no longer in service of all people. And so something needs to change. It needs to shift, and we need to create a world where we're actually doing things in a way that serves all of us and not just a few of us. And that's, I think, what the shift of 2012, 2013 is all about, to expand our thinking, our beliefs, our ability to see things in a different light. It's a very powerful paradigm shift that can really change how we live on this planet.
Nice.
But each of us needs to do their individual part, because if none of us step up, then the shift cannot take place.
Do you feel that you felt that maybe building? Why did you leave modeling and acting to start this business? And also, before you answer, I have to say, you have done something unique. I notice all of these coaches kind of rising to the surface, but the combination is unique that you've put together, and also your website is so clean, and your videos are so clean and elegant. It just cuts, straight through all of the noise. Why did you do this? Why did you leave one career and start this one?
I have to tell you, I think it was kind of a process. I wasn't necessarily making a huge plan, where I sat down and said, this is what I want to do. It was sort of like I was kind of, I guess it was a timing thing, and it was also, I was in the flow of working on myself and expanding my own energies and working on my stuff that I came in with in this lifetime. And, unblocking my own blockages and things. And through that process, I became a life coach. And through that process, I've also started then coaching people. And because astrology has always been my biggest passion, one of my teachers that I work with, she said to me, why don't you combine the two? Since you love astrology and you're really good at it, why don't you combine that? That would be such a unique way to do that. So the whole process has really been a collaboration between me and other people, in a sense, because I've just been sort of like listening to other people and listening to my own heart and see what resonated with me that I've picked up from conversations that I've heard or that I've been in with other people, and then just created and expanded upon my business in that way. So I love feedback. I think feedback is very valuable, and it's really wonderful to use feedback when it resonates with you. So I'm not saying to always use every feedback that you get, but when there is something that you hear from somebody else and it hits you in a way where it's like, oh, yeah, this is great, right? I always will listen to that because it's a great way to expand, and it's a great way to move yourself further, further out there into the world, further out there into doing something different, doing something new. So it worked for me. So that's kind of
I think that organic unfolding is just, if you can, go with the flow and be open to synchronicities, it can take you there, wherever you're trying to get, a lot faster, as opposed to trying to apply your own how. This is how everything will happen, which I've tried to do many times and never works out.
That's the thing I've noticed in the past. Whenever I try to control my life or try to put big plans into my path, I get too attached, and it doesn't work because I'm not in the flow. So I've stopped making huge plans. I have ideas, right, that I want to follow, and that I have things that I know I want to do with my business. But I'm not letting myself plan too much around it, because I'm letting myself be more open to how it's coming to me from the universe, through the universe, through other people.
That's fabulous.
And I think it works better.
How does astrology play into that without getting too, I want to say superstitious, but I think the word is more like paranoid. If you're like, oh no, Mercury retrograde's happening and I'm supposed to go do this thing, like, how do you balance that?
Yes, that's such a great question. Thank you for asking that. I, in my experience, what's best to do with astrology is to always move towards the higher vibrations of each expression of what astrology represents. And so with astrology, what you're talking about is you're talking about planets, you're talking about certain relationships between planets, and certain directions that planets are going in, right? So direct, retrograde, a trine, a square, all these different aspects. You have lunar cycles. But each of these things can be interpreted on a higher vibration and on a lower vibration, because it's all energy. Okay. And so what you're really doing is you're reading energy, and each energy can be interpreted in different ways on different levels. And so what I have found is that it's good to be aware of the lower vibrations of certain energies and planets. However, it's very important to focus on the higher vibrations and to move towards the higher vibrations. Because the higher vibration is what lifts us up. It's what brings us into an alignment with the universe, how the universe would like us to work with it. On the lower vibration of things, we're sort of like getting more stuck, and we're moving into fear or apathy. And fear and apathy are always something that spins you into a downward spiral, or that keeps you stuck. So it's not something that I would recommend.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I love that I asked you that, because I love your answer. It ties in wonderfully with all of your work, and I just find sometimes astrologists. I love astrology, even if it's just for entertainment. I enjoy it, but sometimes it can get a little heavy or bogged down, and this trine with that trine and this square.
Yeah,
and
it can get very technical.
How does that apply to my life?
Yes.
Can you, this has a long name, so I wrote this down as well, but you teach a course called Wisdom from the Heavens, Interpret Your Own Astrology Chart, and that's where you teach people astrology?
Yes. I'm currently actually working on making that happen. I have it on my website already, because I want people to know that that's in the works, and that that's something I would like to do. I want people to be able to understand their own charts. I want people to be able to read their own charts and be more connected to the symbols, because I think it's a really great way to then understand a little bit more what's happening each day and how to align yourself with the energies each day once you understand your own chart really well. Because all it is in your own chart, when you were born, right, there were certain planets on a certain degree in a certain sign. And whenever a transiting planet, and which means how the energies are right now in the sky, those are the transits, right? Whenever a planet hits one of your personal planets in a particular way, that will affect you more than another person. So understanding your own chart can be really beautiful and really essential in knowing what's going on each day as well, right? In kind of seeing, okay, I have, for example, what day is your birthday?
September 29.
September 29th. So you're a Libra,
yes.
right?
Yes.
You're an early Libra. So let's say your Libra sun is in about 5 degrees, right? 6 degrees, something around there, right? So whenever there is a planet that hits 6 degrees of Libra or approaches 6 degrees of Libra, that will be significant for you, right?
Oh.
And if it's Venus, right, then because that's the planet of relationship and love and beauty, when that hits your sun, there's an extra energy pull towards love and relationships and towards harmony and towards beauty, right? And equality and things like that, right? When Pluto goes over your sun, right? And that will not happen for a while because Pluto travels very slowly, so you're not to worry.
Good to know.
But when Pluto goes over your sun, that's a time when you really need to look within and dig deeper into your psyche to see who you really are and who you are on a very deep emotional level. All of you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So really embrace all of your sides, the darker sides and the lighter sides, and bring light to the darkness. Because by embracing all of you, you become whole and therefore more powerful. And so it's an empowering energy, right? But it's a process. Therefore, it travels very, very slowly because it's a very deep emotional process. So depending on which planet, right, comes over your sun, and also over some of your other personal planets or your moon, right, that will affect you in different ways. And I think that is beautiful to know in terms of...
Oh, we froze.
That's happening in the sky every day.
I will wrap this up. I have a great question for you that I would like to ask, and that is, what is your secret for living a kick-ass life?
My secret for living a kick-ass life?
Yeah.
Well, I would say, well, one thing is definitely to move from fear towards love and joy. You know, I think that's very important to always be very conscious of when you're scared and to release that energy, because fear is very much, it's like a tension in the body. It's like a tense feeling. And so by releasing the tension and releasing the blockages in your body, you can so much easier move into joy, move into love. And living in that space is so much more beautiful and so much more easy to do than it is living in fear or living in a lower vibration. So I would say that's my secret, is to just always, when I feel it, when I notice it, when I'm aware of it, I take a deep breath. I do my exercises that I also use in my coaching, and it helps. And I'm flying in my joy love space.
Nice. Thank you so much for doing this, Sonja. You were a delight to talk to. And I learned
too, Joanna.
I learned a few things too, so
great.
Wonderful. Much love. Peace.
Much love. Have a wonderful day.